candidat la funcția de vicepreședinte al Statelor Unite ale Americii de aici la Convenția Națională a Republicanilor.
Greetings, Milwaukee, my fellow Americans and my fellow Republicans. My name is J.D. Vance from the great state of Ohio. Tonight, we're going to chill with the Ohio love. We're going to win Michigan too here. My friends, tonight is a night of hope. A celebration of what America once was, and with God's grace, what it will soon be again. And it is a reminder of the sacred duty we have to preserve the American experiment, to choose America. But as we meet tonight, we cannot forget that this evening could have been so much different. Instead of a day of celebration, this could have been a day of heartache and mourning. In the last 8 years, President Trump has given everything he has to fight for the people of our country. He didn't need politics, but the country needed him. Now, prior to running for president, he was one of the most successful businessmen in the world. He had everything anyone could ever want in a life. And yet, instead of choosing the easy path, he chose to endure abuse, slander, and persecution. And he did it because he loves this country. Video of a would-be assassin coming a quarter of an inch from taking his life. Consider the lies they told you about Donald Trump, and then look at that photo of him defiant, fists in the air, when Donald Trump rose to his feet in that Pennsylvania field. All of America stood with him. To fight for America. Even in his most perilous moment, we were on his mind. His instinct was for us, for our country, to call us to something higher, to something greater, to once again be citizens who ask what our country needs of us. Now consider what they said. They said he was a tyrant. They said he must be stopped at all costs. But how did he respond? He called for national unity, for national calm, literally right after an assassin nearly took his life. He remembered the victims of the terrible attack, especially the brave Corey Compertori, who gave his life to protect his family. God bless you. And then President Trump flew to Milwaukee and got back to work. tough, and he is, but he cares about me. He can stand defiant against an assassin one moment and call for national healing the next. He is a beloved father and grandfather, and of course, a once-in-a-generation business leader. He's the man who is feared by America's adversaries, but 2 nights ago, on Sarah Moment, said goodnight to his 2 boys, told them he loved them, and made sure to give each of them a kiss on the cheek. And I will say, Don and Eric squirm the same way my 4-year-old does when his dad tries to. Sorry, guys. He is all those things, but tonight we celebrate he is our once and future President of the United States of America. I want to respond to his call for unity myself. We have a big tent in this party on everything from national security to economic policy. But my message to you, my fellow Republicans, is we love this country and we are united to win. Now I think our disagreements actually make us stronger. That's what I've learned in my time in the United States Senate, where sometimes I persuade my colleagues and sometimes they persuade me. And my message to my fellow Americans, those watching from across the country, is shouldn't we be governed by a party that is unafraid to debate ideas and come to the best solution? That's the Republican Party of the next 4 years. United in our love for this country and committed to free speech and the open exchange of ideas. And so tonight, Mr. Chairman, I stand here humble, and I'm overwhelmed with gratitude to say I officially accept your nomination to be Vice President.
Ați auzit în direct, prieteni, cel nominalizat pentru funcția de vicepreședinte a Statelor Unite ale Americii a acceptat în direct, fiind văzut și de dumneavoastră.
Never in my wildest imagination could I have believed that I'd be standing here tonight. I grew up in Middletown, Ohio. A small town where people spoke their minds, built with their hands, and loved their God, their family, their community, and their country with their whole hearts. But it was also a place that had been cast aside and forgotten by America's ruling class in Washington. When I was in the 4th grade, a career politician by the name of Joe Biden supported NAFTA, a bad trade deal that sent countless good jobs to Mexico. When I was a sophomore in high school, that same career politician named Joe Biden gave China a sweetheart trade deal that destroyed even more good American middle-class manufacturing jobs. When I was a senior in high school, that same Joe Biden supported the disastrous invasion of Iraq, and at each step of the way, in small towns like mine in Ohio, or next door in Pennsylvania or Michigan, in states all across our country, jobs were sent overseas and our children were sent to war. And President Trump knew even then that we needed leaders who would put America first. Now, thanks to these policies that Biden and other out-of-touch politicians in Washington gave us, our country was flooded with cheap Chinese goods, with cheap foreign labor, and in the decades to come, deadly Chinese food. Joe Biden screwed up, and my community paid the price. Now, I was lucky. Despite the closing factories and growing addiction in towns like mine, in my life, I had a guardian angel by my side. She was an old woman who could barely walk, but she was tough as nails. I called her Mama, the name we hillbillies gave to our grandmothers. Mama raised me as Mama raised me as my mother struggled with addiction. Mama was in so many ways a woman of contradiction. She loved the Lord, ladies and gentlemen. She was a woman of very deep Christian faith. But she also loved the effort. I'm not kidding. She could make a sailor blush. Now, she once told me, when she found out that I was spending too much time with a local kid who was known for dealing drugs, that if I ever hung out with that kid again, she would run him over with a car. It's true. She said, JD, no one will ever find out about it. Now, thanks to that man wall, things worked out for me. After 9/11, I did what thousands of other young men my age did at that time of soaring patriotism and love of country. I enlisted in the United States Marines. Simplified my fellow Marines. I left the Marines after 4 years and went to the Ohio State University. I'm sorry, Michigan, I had to get that in there. Come on. We've had enough political violence. After Ohio State, I went to Yale Law School, where I met my beautiful wife. And then I started businesses to create jobs in the kind of places like După. Now, my work taught me that there's still so much talent and grit in the American heartland. There really is. But for these places to thrive, my friends, we need a leader who fights for the people who built this country. We need a leader who's not in the pocket of big business, but answers to the working man, union and non-union alike. A leader who won't sell out to multinational corporations, but will stand up for American companies and American industry. A leader who rejects Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's Green New scam and fights to bring back our great American factories. We need President Donald J. Trump. Some people tell me I've lived the American dream. Of course, they're right, and I'm so grateful. But the American dream that always counted most was not starting a business, or becoming a senator, or even being here with you fine people, though it's pretty awesome. My most important American dream was becoming a good husband and a good dad. Of being able to give I want to give my kids the things that I didn't have when I was growing up. And that's the accomplishment I'm proud of. And tonight, I'm joined by my beautiful wife, an incredible lawyer, and a better mom. And our three beautiful kids, Ewan, who's 7, Vivek, who's 4, and Mirabelle, who's 2. Now, they're back at the hotel, and kids, if you're watching, Daddy loves you very much, but get your butts in bed. It's 10 o'clock. But, my friends, things did not work out well for a lot of kids I grew up with. Every now and then, I will get a call from a relative back home who asks, "Do you know so-and-so?" And I'll remember a face from years ago, and then I'll hear, "They died of an overdose." As always, America's ruling class wrote the checks. Communities like mine paid the price. For decades, that divide between the few with their power and comfort in Washington and the rest of us only widened. From Iraq to Afghanistan, from the financial crisis to the Great Recession, from open borders to stagnating wages, the people who govern this country have failed and failed again. That is, of course, until a guy named Donald J. Trump. President Trump represents America's last best hope to restore what, if lost, may never be found again. A country where a working class boy will stand on this stage as the next Vice President of the United States of America.